Hello everybody, Calamity here. I hope you guys are having a fantastic Halloween if you celebrate it. Today's video is going to be about the weapon banner that's going to run for the rest of 5.1. It features both Hu Tao and Nahida's signature weapons. Now we're going to briefly talk about every weapon on the banner, mainly the 5-star ones, and talk about what they do, who they're good for, outside of their signature users, of course, which is a lot to go over, so let's get started. Let's start with the Staff of Homa. This is a pole arm that provides crit damage as a substat, and the weapon's effect is called the Reckless Cinnabar. It's going to straight up increase your HP by 20%. Additionally, you're going to get an attack bonus based on 0.8% of your max HP at Refinement 1. When the wielder's HP is less than 50%, this attack bonus is increased by an additional 1% of max HP. Sorry if you hear my dogs barking in the background. But wowee, what a weapon. And this weapon obviously designed for Hu Tao, and we can see that it further cements the whole low HP playstyle that she's supposed to have. However, that being said, this is still a fantastic stat stick for just about any pole arm DPS or off-field DPS because of the crit damage of the substat and the free attack boost from the weapon's effect. Now, if you have an HP scaling pole arm character like Zhongli, for example, they'll get even more benefits because of the free HP increase. Also, just to let the new people know, this buff isn't as crazy as it sounds, because it sounds like a lot of attack if you read this on paper at first, or at least I thought it was a lot. It says 0.8 of your max HP. So let's say you have 10,000 HP. 0.8 of that would be 8,000 HP, or yeah, 8,000 HP. You're not gonna get 8,000 flat attack from this weapon, okay? That's that's not how this works. That'd be insanely strong. In fact, you're only gonna get 80 attack, which is still a good amount. And obviously, most characters, right, when you level them up, they gain HP naturally, and you also get some from your artifacts. Like, for example, it's the flower, I think, right, that gives you flat HP. So you are getting a decent amount of free attack from this weapon's effect, whether or not the character is HP scaling or not. It's still a good welcome bonus to have. So that being said, the characters that can use this weapon, as I mentioned before, is literally any DPS or sub DPS. Like, it's still one of the strongest weapons in the game for many characters. The only thing that will beat it are the 5-star characters like own signature weapons, for example. Since those are tailor-made for them. But for Ling, this is still a solid option, and it was considered her best weapon, at least until Staff of the Scarlet Sands was released. This is also really good for Zhongli if you want to use him in a more DPS burst support build. And if Hoyoverse ever releases a Hydro HP scaling DPS sub DPS character, you can bet if it's a 4-star or 5-star, this is gonna be a solid weapon for them, and probably gonna be the second best option for them outside of their signature weapon if they're a 5-star character. So yeah, there's a lot of really good characters out there that can take advantage of this weapon. The only characters that I can think of that can't are just like supports, like Yun Jin, for example, because she wants defense, not crit damage or crit rate or attack. Excuse me. Shenhe doesn't really take advantage of this either because she wants attack percentage and energy recharge to maximize her buff. Overall, though, if you happen to get this weapon while pulling for Nahida's, consider it a win-win. This is, once again, still considered one of the best weapons to have on your account. Next up is 1,000 Floating Dreams. This is a catalyst weapon for Nahida, and it provides elemental mastery as a substat. Now, the weapon's effect is kind of long, at least compared to the Staff of Homa, so let's go over it. It's called 1,000 Nights Dawn Song. So party members other than the equipping character will provide the equipping character with buffs based on whether their elemental type is the same as the latter or not. If the elemental types are the same, increase the elemental mastery of the equipping character by 32. If they are not, increase the equipping character's damage bonus from their elemental type by 10%. Each of the aforementioned effects can have up to 3 stacks. Additionally, all nearby party members other than the equipping character will have their elemental mastery increased by 40, multiple such effects from multiple such weapons can stack. I just want to point out, yes, you are getting an elemental damage bonus of the equipping character's type by 10%. So for example, if you give this to Lisa, she's gonna get electro damage bonus based off your teammates. So if you have like 3 different non-electro teammates, she's gonna get 30% increased elemental damage. And if you have other catalyst support characters or users in the team, like let's say Sucrose, that also have this weapon equipped, then yeah, you'll actually, if you have Lisa and Sucrose in the same team, they both have this equipped, then this will actually stack. It's so rare to actually see a weapon effect say, yeah, it does stack, because usually it doesn't. That being said, I just listed off 2 characters that can use this weapon outside of Nahida. Lisa is great for this if you're deciding to build her for Hyper Bloom, Aggravate, or any other type of reaction type DPS, since, you know, we're getting a lot of free elemental mastery. Here, Sucrose, character that really loves elemental mastery as part of her kit. She also gives elemental mastery based off her own. Really, really strong weapon of choice there. If you also decide you want to do a Bloom team with Barbara or Kokomi as the trigger for your Blooms, that is also another option. This is considered the best one because it gives the most elemental mastery compared to the 3-star or 4-star options. But basically, this weapon, you want to give it to someone either main DPS or sub DPS that's going to be in a team where a lot of reactions are happening. Stuff like Overloaded, Electrocharged, Vaporize, Melt, etc., etc. The only, you know, reaction we don't really care about is Crystallize, which is from Geo. But yeah, plenty of characters can take advantage of this. Yaimiko also being another one as well. So with that being said, again, both of these 5-star weapons, this one and the Staff of Homa, really, really good 5-star weapons. Plenty of characters can use them. So whether you're pulling for a Staff of Homa and you lost your 50-50 to 1,000 Floating Dreams or vice versa, you're winning. You know, these are really, really good weapons to have on your account. And even if you don't have someone that can use it right now, you'll definitely have someone in the future for sure. Alright, let's move on to the 4-star weapons. We're going to go through these pretty fast because we've seen these a ton of times in the past, and honestly, they're nothing special. Well, at least most of them are nothing special. So let's get started with the Lion's Roar. Gives you attack percentage as a substat. It increases the damage opponents take when they're affected by Pyro or Electro. This is a decent weapon, and the weapon's effect is something easy to take advantage of. You can just give it to Kaching if you got her. As an example, any sword DPS or sub DPS can take advantage of this weapon. Gives them a nice little damage boost, but yeah, pretty average overall. Next up is one of the newer weapons called the Fruitful Hook. It's a claymore that also gives attack percentage and has the effect called the Weight of Falling Branches. It's going to increase plunging attack crit rate by 16%. And then after a plunge attack hits an opponent, normal, charged, and plunging attack damage will be increased by 16% for 10 seconds. Now you might see this and think, ah, this is a weapon for Gaming, and you're absolutely right. However, if you happen to pull for Cloud Retainer, aka Xinyan, in her previous banner earlier this year, then your options become more, like there are more options available to you. For example, Diluc can use this weapon, or Razor, even if you're using them because she turns any character into a plunge DPS character basically with her kit. If you have her, you have more options. If not, Gaming, pretty much. Next up is the Dragon's Bane. It has Elemental Mastery as a substat. This is probably on here because Hu Tao is on the banner, and it's considered her best 4-star option if you aren't able to get a Staff of Homa. It provides Elemental Mastery, as well as another damage increase if opponents are affected by Hydro or Pyro, so furthering that Vaporized team that she's very popular in. This weapon only solidifies that, but lots of characters can use this as well. Again, reaction based, so John Ling being another good option. Homa, if you're going for Urgent teams, could actually take advantage of this. However, the contain cross spear is going to be better, and that's craftable. But honestly, any character that's doing reaction based stuff, again, Hyper Bloom comes to mind, Aggravate. You could also give this to Raiden Shogun, and it's a decent option. It's actually going to be one of their better options. Next up is the Eye of Perception, in my opinion, probably the worst weapon on this banner. It's a catalyst with another attack percentage substat. It's one of the oldest weapons of the game. It has the effect called Echo, where your normal and charge attacks have a 50% chance to fire a bolt of perception that will bounce between opponents up to 4 times, dealing 240% of your attack as damage. Remember that most characters get like 2,000 to 3,000 attacks, so this bounce is gonna do like 6 to 8,000 damage depending on your character's build, buffs, etc, etc. Like, it's nothing to write home about, but I guess it is nice for clearing out crowds of enemies. And this effect can occur once every 12 seconds, with it being like 6 at max refinement. I consider this weapon a stepping stone weapon, as in it's something to give your DPS or even your sub DPS characters, you know, just something, you know, better than the, you know, 1 to 3 star weapon. However, you'll probably end up replacing this once you get more 4 stars or even a 5-star weapon in the future. For example, the Widsith, which is a 4-star catalyst, is way better than the Eye of Perception. Last but not least is the Favonius Warbow. If you've ever looked up a guide for literally any support character or healer that uses a bow, you've probably heard this weapon mentioned many times. It has energy recharge as a substat, gives you a ton of energy recharge for free, and it has the effect called Windfall, where your crits have a 60% chance to generate more elemental particles, and this can occur once every 12 seconds. The chance becomes 100 at refinement 5, and the cooldown becomes 6. So this weapon becomes insanely good at giving your entire team constant flow of energy particles, as long as they're critting. And that's the only downside to this weapon, is that whoever you give it to, you need to make sure they have a decent amount of crit chance. You can help get this quite easily if you get a crit rate main stat circlet. Other than that, you kind of have to hope you get it on your substats, but usually I try to aim for 30 to 40%. Obviously, if you can get more without sacrificing the important energy recharge or, you know, whatever stat they need to scale better, then, you know, more power to you. But usually I find the crit circlet to be more than enough. Very, very strong weapon, used on a bunch of supports, considered honestly the best weapon for many of them. Diona, Goro, for example, of support characters that would love a Favonius Warbow. Baruzan as well, another character that can take advantage of this. So yeah, you have plenty of options, and if you happen to get this weapon, consider yourself set, at least for your support. And that is going to be it for this weapon banner review for 5.1. Hope it was useful to some of you out there that are curious about these weapons. And if you have any other additional character suggestions or underrated characters that can take advantage of some of these weapons, feel free to leave that down below in the comments. So I can steal your knowledge and then act like I knew it the whole time for my next video. I'm just kidding. But thank you so much for watching. Leave a like and or subscribe to the channel if you enjoy this kind of content. I appreciate it. And see you all in the next video.